All right, so we're back. But anyway, I think when I lost you yesterday, it was kind of funny. The dude that I'm managing his one account said it was really funny. Let's see. I mean, it's like he thought I was a genius or something, right? Because he he sent a message. I just love this. Wow, how did you make money today? Nice job. I lost $1,000. And it was just funny to me. And I'm like, dude, I didn't tell him this, but you should have seen my other account, man, where I was down like $1,800. So, the count's gonna go up, count's gonna go down. And I think I told you, Rick, when we first got started, don't be surprised. You're gonna see me swing two
Right.
thousand dollars this way, $2,000 that way. And the key is when I used to do that though, I would puke positions. And we all know what that means. Boy, when you puke positions, you just panic and you just, start closing things and taking the losses. And I don't know when that trigger happened with me to, stop worrying about the position and worry about the overall forest. So, and I know with your trade trick, how far you are out, that really wasn't an issue for you. So it's just kind of a cool thing to, to watch us. I'm
Oh
talking
yeah.
about me
Yeah. Well,
progress.
I have good days and bad days, just like you as well. I mean, when you get to expiration, it normally changes, or you adjust, you manage just like you do. You just manage the trees.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it's a beautiful thing, and I know that's really been part of my progression. Is I don't panic anymore, which is
Yeah.
yeah, but sometimes
Well,
I
that's
do,
what
right?
that's what happened to me yesterday when the market went down. Normally, before I started being friends with you, I would have panicked big time yesterday, big time, because I wouldn't have known what to do. I mean, for me, what you have done is you have calmed me, is so by teaching me how to manage a problem. What do you do with that tree? That has helped me tremendously, and I appreciate that.
Oh, awesome,
Oh,
Rick. That's good.
I did have a question
Yeah.
on that gold trade yesterday.
Hmm.
Was that just is that just like a straddle 150 days out at 5 delta put and 5 delta call? Is that all it was?
Yeah. So what it is it's a strangle, and I put it
A
on.
strangle, yeah.
Yep, a strangle that I put on about 150 days out. I mean, you can see it's flat, right? The thing's flat. And the cool thing about the gold trade is all I'm doing is looking for time decay. So my buddy puts that on and he does a 10 delta. He's a gunslinger. So, but still I've got a pretty much a 95% probability of profit on that. And the only reason I put it on yesterday is because we put that calendar on, and that calendar gave me a lot of positive Vega, which is good. So, and I knew that my gold trade would give me a lot of negative Vega. You see the negative 236. So I didn't want my entire account to suffer because of gold volatility. And yesterday, quite frankly, was the first time I've had the buying power and been in a nice position Vega wise to put that trade on. But Rick, if you've got the buying power for that trade, it's really a great trade. Now, I've tried it in oil and I've tried it in soybeans and God knows, wheat, corn, all kinds of stuff, the euro. But time and time again, the gold trade just seems to, for now to be a really solid trade. So if you got the buying power and you can
Sure.
put on that, look at your Vega. You don't want it to kill you so much. So if you can put on that calendar trade or something similar, you don't have to put it in the SPX. You can do calendar on, smaller products as well. Just get you a
You
little
know,
calendar to get you some positive Vega, and then that way that negative Vega from the gold doesn't really hurt me at all. As you
yeah,
see, we still got positive.
with my Greeks doing the Monday, Wednesday, Friday credit spread. I mean, I always have negative Vega. So putting on those diagonals, I have a diagonal for SPY and DIA, and I just put on one last week for XSP. all of that has gotten my Vega to slightly positive for the most part. So I kind of I'm interested in the gold trade, but I'm real hesitant as far as all the negative Vega that it brings in. So I just got it to where, again, I just got my Vega to where, for the most part, it's between, I don't know, between minus 10 and 100 consistently. So that's been good for me. So I'm always looking with my selling my vertical spreads always gives me that that it gets my Vega always out of whack. I don't have just I always have a lot of negative Vega. So again, those hedges or those diagonals help me balance out.
That's great. And so I think what you're finding, Rick, is that you're getting to a point where, you kind of know what your Greeks are by the strategies that you're using. And I think you're kind of comfortable with those, which is awesome,
Yeah.
right? You wake up, you kind of go, I know where it's going to be. So, don't even think that you have to put in a gold trade, because see that's the problem with the gold trade. It's not that, the delta's neutral, the theta's great, right? Bringing me in $15 a day. But there's the problem. It is a high short Vega trade. So check it out though. What I did yesterday, and the only reason I put the gold trade on was because of this, the calendar we did yesterday. So basically I said, hey, gold trade, I'm going to put you into the forest. We're going to have a gold tree simply because I negate your bad stuff here. Right? So these wash each other out. And the calendar gives me beautiful 25 theta and negative 60 delta. So it's really, really just kind of a sweet way of balancing those, the entire portfolio.
Yeah.
I was thinking about when we started this room, how do you start a trading room? I've been in a one trading room before, and I've been in Theo trade and stuff. And what I didn't like about the trading rooms that I was in is that, I was a copier of other people's trades. All of that just used to mess me up. That, okay, I was waiting on their signal. But I think that's the way most people want it. I think that's what most people want. I think people want to be spoon fed specific trades and alerts and notifications on trades so that they can follow the exact trade. And Rick, what I'm so proud of what you're doing and what others in this room are doing is no one's following the exact trades that I'm putting on. Now you may occasionally put one on, but what we're learning is independent thinking, which is a much more positive tool for us going forward, for anyone going forward, just to know
Well,
that
you're an expert fisherman, and you are teaching us how to fish. We don't use the same lure, we don't use the same technique, but you're teaching us to stand on our own, and that's what I've always wanted. That's why I moved away from having all my funds managed by someone else. I want to do it myself. I want to learn it myself. I want to do it smartly, and if I lose, it's my fault. It's not their fault, it's my fault. If I win, it's my fault as well. So again, I appreciate you. I don't want you to feed me the trades. Let me back up. I I appreciate you doing the trades online. I appreciate you showing us what trades you have done. But I watch them not so I can mirror what Bobby does. I watch it to learn. Oh, that's what a strangle will do. That's how it adjusts your Greeks. That's what a calendar. Because I've never done that before. So you teaching me how to fish has been a godsend personally.
Awesome. Well, and that's what I like about what you're doing. And Rick, it was so powerful when you presented, to the group. That was just so powerful because what you've done is you took something and made it your own, and you just are rinsing and repeating and doing the same thing over and over and over. with really good results. And, that's really inspirational to see that. I mean, heck, we named a trade after you, and the,
Yeah,
tra- you're being really successful with that, which is is really, really cool. So, and I love, that Matt is,
yeah.
doing his own thing, you know,
Matt's amazing.
yeah,
He's an amazing guy.
yeah, just a great guy. And we don't want him to know that we said that about him, but,
No, don't tell him. Don't tell him.
yeah, we don't want that to go to his head, but it's just great. And I'm glad that the independent thinking process is is really being shown with you guys, all of you. If we could ever overcome our human error on things, but that's great, right? That we are able to share the boneheaded things that we've done today, because the boneheaded mistakes that I make today are much different than the boneheaded mistakes that I made 10 years ago when I was
Sure.
first doing this. Would you believe this, Rick? I mean, I one day maybe I'll open my 2016 journal. I think it was 2016, but I remember that I put on a calendar spread just like we did yesterday, and that went against me $300. And I remember that $300 loss on that trade. I mean, to a point that I go, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'll ever do calendars again. But I wasn't looking at the whole picture. I didn't look how it fit in with everything else that we had in the account. I don't know. You look at those and you go, man, that's growth. And that's what we want to have. All of us should just have growth. Uh, I remember when I did an IBM trade, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it directionally on an earnings trade. And that trade went against me, I think $647. I think I remember it. And I woke up the next day and going, oh, wow, I will never, ever do a earnings trade. Now, I think I was true to myself then. I think that was the last time I said, who in their right mind would do an earnings trade? So I totally did away with those. I committed way too much time to studying Karen the Super Trader, to a point that people would often associate me with her in different circles and say, "Oh, you support a fraudster. You support, No, but I took something from her and learned it. Heck,
Absolutely.
I think we can learn from Hitler. I mean,
No, 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 absolutely. Absolutely. You can learn you can learn from anybody. It's kind of like eating fish. You eat the fish, but you spit out the bones. You have to
yeah.
just spit out the bones. And everybody has bones. I've got bones.
We
Spit them
all
out.
have bones. We all have bones. So Rick, before, I mean, where did you, when was it that you started trading, options? When did you make that?
Sure. So it was about 15 years ago. My mom passed away and I had inherited some money. And just like I told you before, when I used to work at Focus on the Family, and the guy that was running our IRAs, uh, he was just doing, to me, he was just doing a terrible job. But he was driving Mercedes and he was going to Tahiti, and I'm thinking, there's no way I'm going to do this on my own. So that allowed me to do it on my own. So I jumped in and I started following this guy. He was I mean, he's still going on, but he just sucks the money out of people. But anyway, he introduced me to options, and he introduced me to the vertical spread. Basically, I was doing all iron condors, but it was about 15 years ago when I started. And then one time, my wife and I were on a vacation to in Louisiana visiting my daughter, and a iron condor went against me. And I didn't have the biggest idea what to do. I didn't know how to manage the thing. So, I mean, I had a $2,000 loss. That was devastating to me, devastating to me. And then I went on a quest. Well, there's got to be something better. So I got into, I did Elliott Wave for many years. And I couldn't make it work for me. And, the other guys, they can make it work, but I couldn't make it work for me. And so it wasn't until, honestly, and this, so I bounced around. seeing my P&L stay the same, going down, going back up, going down, and basically I was losing money. That's until I started getting back to what I had before, which was the Iron Condor / vertical spreads, but with the knowledge of how to manage and what the Greeks can do for me. So really, it wasn't. I've seen more success since January, and yeah, I know the market's gone up since January, sure, but there have been some times I've had to manage. But this has been the most successful time in my trading career since this January, since you started your stuff. I don't even remember how I found you, just to be honest with you. I thought, Sweet Bobby, what the heck is that? Who would call themselves Sweet Bobby? And so anyway, so I went, I got the spreadsheet, and I love spreadsheets. Oh my gosh, I can manage anything with a spreadsheet. And the fact that you focused on the spreadsheet, I thought, I don't know anything about this darn spreadsheet, but hey, if he can manage with the spreadsheet, I can manage with the spreadsheet. So anyway, so that's how I got started.
That's awesome. Yeah, because with the spreadsheet, it gives me the discipline that I lack in so many areas of my life.
Yeah.
So, to have something there that, tells me what to do. And that's why I've told you with even weight loss, which has been better, tracking the foods that I eat and keeping up with the hours that I'm fasting on a daily basis has helped that as well. And then I'm thinking, what other areas of my life can that help? To be a logger of stuff, to keep a journal, to keep some track record that you can go back and look on. Yeah, I'm talking about bringing up 2016 spreadsheets. I got them all, and sometimes I go in there and look at those and see those. I still got that $300 loss on a calendar on there in red, and I still remember it in 2016 or whatever. But let me ask you this, Rick. When you inherited money from your mother, and that's wonderful, right? I mean, you hate that on the passing of a relative, and Beth's father just passed away, and there's going to be an inheritance there that we're working through. But did you feel when you were trading options with that money any sense of that's mama's money, and
Absolutely.
I better dang well not lose it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about that. I mean, one of them is that it was an inherited IRA. And it's amazing what you can't do with an inherited IRA. But it's always been mama's money. Now, some of it I trade was my IRA from Focus on the Family. I still trade that. But yeah, you don't want to lose mama's money. Well, and let me just say, the only reason mama had money was because my father he died of mesothelioma, which is asbestos-related cancer. And there was some class action lawsuit. And it wasn't until after my father passed away that my mom got the settlement from that. So that's the only reason why she had money to begin with. We weren't poor necessarily, but we were probably upper lower class. We never splurged on anything. So it was the first time that anyway.
Well, and it's interesting too. You brought up, when you got into this, that you were, that you saw other people doing this, and they had, the toys of life, so to speak. And I think about 20-year-old Bobby, and I think about 30-year-old Bobby, how that type of stuff was really, really an important thing. But even so, I was the guy who was, 24 years old with a Plymouth Voyager minivan rather than a sports car because I worked with kids at church. And so I was like always carrying kids, even at, 24-year-old working with teenagers in the church. And I thought, man, I need a van to carry those kids around. And it's just, that's the great part about life is, man, would I like to have a little helicopter that would take me to, to Atlanta rather than having, oh, that'd be great. Or would I like to have, this or that? But it's so funny the older that you get, and I think most of y'all are, realize this, the more that the stuff just doesn't matter at all. It's the experience. the experience. So when I was, I can remember this. I how I told you I graduated with a class of 48. I was a valedictorian of that class, and I remember the day they announced I was valedictorian. I was so happy. I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool, right? So you go, well, it's 47, 48 people, and you graduate, and you go, man, I'm gonna get to give a speech. And I was kind of excited about that. And I'll never forget this. And I shared this with the kids the other day. I was walking out to the band room. I was gonna tell my band director because I was so excited. And this girl came up to me behind me, and she was crying and squalling. I said, what in the world is wrong with you? She said, you're valedictorian. Well, she was all upset. And I go, why are you crying? She goes, because my ACT score is higher than yours. And she was just, I mean, she was all just so bent out of shape about it. And I thought, girl, you're not even the salutatorian. You're not even second place. Hell, you may be third at best. And it wasn't that I was braggadocious about it, but I couldn't understand that she was so upset with me. But this is so funny. If I've shared this before, y'all stop me. But fast forward to me at my government job, and my boss comes to me several years ago, and he says, Bobby, it was time for the yearly evaluation. And he's like, Bobby, I got good news and bad news. The good news is you are an excellent employee. You do awesome work. I got no complaints. You do everything that you're supposed to do. There's one bit of bad news. You have maxed out in your job. And I thought to and then he did this. He goes, you've maxed out. And then he chuckled. And it was that chuckle that got to me because he, at the time, and still today, was not married. He's older than me. He's not married. Nothing wrong with that. He didn't have any kids. And here I am married, and Beth is a stay-at-home mom, and I got 5 kids at home. And you just told me that I've maxed out. This is as good as it will ever get. You will not make any more money than what you made. There's no room for advancement. And to me, you're in your 40s and that happens to you, 5 kids. What do? You got to pivot. You have to pivot. And pivot I did. So I always wanted to, and I don't want to make this all about me, but I want you to kind of go into my head when we talk about life, and we talk about this a lot of times. The thing that came to me was, okay, you got to pivot, Bob. You got to do something else. So I said, well, let's work on education and let's work on applying for other positions, right? I've always been an employee. So I decided, hey, University of Alabama, let's go into finance, financial planning. Let's work on a master's. And I worked on that master's, and I worked so hard. And I applied for other positions and jobs, which took me to Atlanta. And still with the federal government, but a much better job with much better pay. And I was not looking for that, but to be told that you're maxed out. What if I were to tell you, Matt, you're maxed out, baby? You can't do any more in trading and anything. So I don't like limits being placed on me. Keep in mind, I'm the dreamer, right? I'm the Kenny Rogers. Don't fall in love with the dreamer. I'm the one that plays this goofy music before we come all together, which is music that inspires me to dream and to think big. So I remember, late nights working on my master's and my kids going to my graduation. And I thought, oh man, how that was worth it for me. The kids being there at graduation and showing them how important education is, not regardless how old you are. Don't ever be too old to stop learning. We always learn. And I remember posting on Facebook, you go in there, you're happy. You want to share it with everybody. So I shared that, got my Roll Tide, got my, from my dream school, University of Alabama, got my master's. She sent me a message, the girl that cried when she found out I was the valedictorian of a 47 member high school. She said, I never thought that I would beat you on anything. It wasn't a congratulations. It wasn't anything. She sent me a message. She said, I never thought I'd beat you on anything. So in her mind, she conquered Bobby Gaines. Never thought I'd beat you, Bobby, on anything. And that's when I said, by God, I ain't finished yet. You, as a human being, are not going to limit what I can accomplish. You're just not. And she placed a limit and a challenge on me. Now, when Trump got elected president, you know, she said she was moving to Canada. And I told her on Facebook, I said, girl, I said, make sure your passport's ready, right? I said, wherever you going, I said, you're going to be leaving the United States. Anyway, she blocked me. She blocked me on Facebook. But anyway, so I'm not able to now tell her, you know, hey, guess what? Now it's Dr. Gaines. Me on that shit. Oh, man, I shouldn't be so ugly and spiteful. But it was funny.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bobby, give me her name and I'll go on Facebook and I'll tell her.
You'll go and check out.
There you go.
Cheryl Moore is her last name now. The great thing about Cheryl, though, is that so she blocked me, totally blocked me. And so I took offense to that. Now, y'all, this is where spiteful Bobby comes in, right? We wear all these different hats, as dirty as the spam hat may be. But, you know, it came time for our 30th high school reunion. And I was like, I contacted everybody. How do you contact anybody about a reunion? I put our reunion together. How do you contact them? You don't mail them nowadays, do you? You don't mail anything. You contact them on Facebook. I can't contact her on Facebook. She's got me blocked. So the funny part is, she finds out that we have a 30-year reunion. And she's thinking to herself, hell, why wouldn't I invite her to the reunion? The reason is you blocked me on Facebook. Guess who sent out the invitations? So she's like, she even to this day has no idea why she didn't get an invitation to the, so if she unblocks me, maybe she can come to the 35th reunion. But anyway, I don't know. I'm getting off on a lot of tangents today. We're talking about life and, you know, just, I don't know. So when you come here, right, Dwayne, when you come here, and Matt, when you come here, Rick, when you come here, Ken, and all of you, you know, what are we looking for? Well, when I gave that valedictorian address, I was scared to death and didn't know what to do. So what do if you're looking for, if you're giving a speech, you want quotes, right? Because everybody that I'd ever seen speak at a high school graduation, you know, they get up there and they do these little stuffy speech. And I said, I got to have a couple of quotes to swap up there. Now, where do you think a 17-year-old Bobby would go to get a quote for a graduation speech, valedictory speech? You go to the bathroom.
Elton John.
Hey, you're close. You're close, man. Elton John, right? I mean, just pull any lyrics of an Elton John song. I could have done that, right? Bernie Taupin has written everything that should be quoted. But I went to the bathroom. And what was in the bathroom at Little Bobby's house at home? I hope y'all know this. What did everybody in the 80s have as a little magazine that was in the magazine? It's not the TV Guide. I know you're thinking TV Guide back in that day. Can anybody guess?
We always had Reader's Digest.
Hell yeah, you had Reader's Digest in the bathroom. So I'm sitting in the bathroom and I'm looking at the quotable quotes section because I got to get something for my for my address. Yeah. So you're sitting on the pot, right? And you're looking at that little bitty Reader's Digest, and they had all the little quotes at the bottom and the top of the page. I need Beth, subscribe to the Reader's Digest. I miss that magazine because we always had it growing up. My mama still has it today. And when I'm at her house, I go to the bathroom and read the Reader's Digest. So I'm in there, and here was the quote that I used. And it was from unknown. It didn't even have a person. But this has stayed with me for the rest of my life. In all the worldly things that man pursues with the greatest of eagerness. He finds not half the joy in the possession that he purposed himself in the expectation. And that kind of hit me. And I thought about it a little bit. And I'm thinking, what the crap does that mean? What that means is life is not about the destination. Life is about the journey, right? Because it doesn't matter what degree you get or what, accomplishment that you have in life or what, how many kids or grandkids you have, all that, all that's important stuff. But really, it's not the getting of that stuff. It's not the day that you become the father or the grandfather, but it was the process of going through so much stuff and junk in our lives to get to where we are. So that the ultimate goal is not the sports car or not the condo on the beach. That's not the end game of life, but it's all the stuff, the little bitty stuff where we find purpose along the way, not at the end. So if we take that now to a trading scenario, then I hope all of you, Dwayne and Matt and Rick, and I know this to be the case, you go, okay, I come in here every day and we get together and we do a lot of trading, we do a lot of talking about life, but we don't all have anything figured out, right? You and I will never be at the point to where we go, man, I am the greatest trader on earth. We're never going to be there. So what we're doing is enjoying the ride. We're enjoying the journey. And we're not looking to that destination when you can finally say, Matt, I got it. I got it. Shut the door, close it down. I don't need a Zoom meeting ever again. I'm there. I have arrived. Because the fact is, we never arrive. We never arrive. Because the joy comes in the journey, not the destination, right? So I tell you, we like to go to Disney World. Oh, yeah, we love to go to Disney World. Now, you would think that the end result of going to Disney World is the day that you're on the Aerosmith rock and roller coaster and you see yourself on that roller coaster going from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds and you're just whirled around everywhere. And you go, that's why I'm here. But it's not why you're there. Why are you there? Well, you're there because then you remember the joy on the little kid, who's with you and the kids that the good times that they had there. So the best part about spending all that money at Disney World is not actually being at Disney World. It's not actually the destination, because it is fun while you're there. But as I look at it now, that wasn't the fun part. What's the fun part for me for Disney now is looking back on that trip and looking back on those memories. And even when JoJo is lying on the ground having a, Beth, what would you call that? Just a fit. And he's crying and squalling. And Beth and I just walk off. I said, let someone else get him. Totally out of control. And I remember that to this day. I remember him just crying and screaming. And I remember that Beth, what was the ride we were fixing to ride? And I had to tell him, the Slinky Dog. And I had to look at my little, and that's one of the funnest rides that I rode with my little redhead and Abby and Devin. And I had to tell him, you can't ride this Slinky Dog. And him just looking at me and crying and squalling because he was just so out of control. And then you've got all, the snobby people that were there looking at us like we're evil. A lot of them looking like, hey, fat boy just stole this little black kid. you know, uh, yeah, you get all these reactions from people. And I'm like, you ain't walked in my shoes. You hadn't walked in my shoes. So when you judgmentally lift your nose up and you see me walking away from a kid that's banging his head on the asphalt, and I'm just saying, y'all take it. You ain't been in my shoes. But I remember those days of that. And even that, those are the memories that we have of it. And so you snap the picture of the family in front of the Magic Kingdom. And Beth told me just this week, she said, the only photo that we have of all of us as a family is when we go to Disney World. That's the only time. You actually have people there that are willing to take your picture. Otherwise, when we go somewhere, it's me taking the picture or Beth taking a picture, and we're rarely in. And Beth said most of the time it's her taking the picture. So, we don't have the, uh, we have the memory of a family at that. And not just the good times, not just the, hey, we had a great time on the rock and roller coaster, but the meltdowns and the crying and the screaming and the drive down. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there? No, shut up. Right. So you have all of that. So really, the great thing about going to Disney, even with the bad stuff, and me, the fat slob walking through the thing going, I gotta sit down, I'm tired. The great part about it is you think about the memories, the good and the bad. So in a trading sense, we remember the $300 loss from calendar spread at SPX. We remember the $647 loss from an IBM earnings trade. And that is who I am as a trader. I love the pom pom. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. Daddy be down in a minute, okay? It's purple and white. It's purple and white. That's Daddy's high school colors. So we take that bad stuff and we take the good stuff, and that combined makes us into the trader and the human being that we are. And it's not finally arriving and saying, man, I got it. I got it. I'll tell this story a million times too. The Einstein at the dinner party, Albert Einstein at the dinner party with at the university, and all the haughty toddies and the professors are there, and there's some students there from different departments, and the young co-ed comes up to Einstein and says, hey, so what do you do for a living? And he goes, young lady, I am engaged in the study of physics. And she looks at him dismissively and says, oh, I took that last semester. And she walks off and she thinks, what the biggest idiot in the entire world. Dude's engaged in studying physics. He's taking a physics. In her mind, Einstein is taking a physics class. And it's not that at all. He's engaged in the study of physics, right? And she's thinking she's superior to him as she walks off. Unbelievable. So what we do together is we are engaged in the study of much more than the markets. We're engaged in the, we are engaged in the study of the markets. We're engaged in portfolio management. We're engaged in not losing money, trying to keep our capital, try to beat the S&P 500. We are involved in all of that stuff, but it really is to a large extent. It's a much, much bigger and greater thing that we're after, right? We're after the chess compared to the checkers. And it's just a thrill for me to be able to come here and for us to trade together. So I hope that's what we're all getting out of this, not a final destination where you go, let's cut the Zoom off. We're zoomed to death. Let's just fit. I got it. Now we're enjoying the journey together. We're enjoying the fact that, it's Rick's birthday today, and that Rick now is a friend that we all have met, Dwayne, Matt, Ken, and everybody, to where we get to participate in that, right? And we get to wish him a happy birthday. and, tell them, hey, have a wonderful, wonderful day, and not really be concerned that the market is up or down or sideways, but that we've got a program in the background to where Bobby can start a class a little early on the day so that I can take my family to Ruby Tuesday because there's a buy one, get one free uh,
Mommy found a
coupon.
boy.
She found a boy. Yeah, look at that. So you got little chunky monkey here. She's excited as everything because Daddy is fixing to, you know, hop out of here, and we're going to head to Carrollton, and we're going to go get us a meal out with a buy one get one free coupon, and we have the freedom to do that. So yesterday I made a public announcement on Facebook. You like sharing stuff with your friends. That's good, right? A lot of us are private. I'm the open book. I share it all. So yesterday I made the announcement that after over 27 years of being the guy who is with the federal government, with the courts, and serving the needs of judges and lawyers and all of that I've done for over 27 years, that I am fully stepping away from that, you know, which was a kind of a cool little deal. And then you go, wow, now you got the ultimate freedom. So now I can go or do pretty much anything that I want to do at any time, anywhere, other than the fact that I've got 5 school-aged children. Guy comes up, I put on Facebook that I was selling my lawnmower for $100, and I don't crank lawnmowers, y'all. I don't even know if, and the question everybody would say is, does the lawnmower crank? It's a push mower. And I go, I have no freaking idea. I ain't even tried it. All I know is the dude that owned this house before had this lawnmower in a building. It's a Troy deal. And so that was the question they go. And I said, okay, Beth, we're going to have to see if we can crank this thing. So one woman came over. She said, well, let's see if we can get it to crank. So she comes out. So I'm out there pulling the cord on the stupid lawnmower, and it won't crank. Beth, God love her, she got a stronger back than me. So Beth's out there, she's pulling the cord on it, won't crank. We look, it's got oil in it. Yeah, it's got gas in it. Who knows if the gas is all watered out? I have no idea. And the woman's like, look, I ain't pulling it as many times as you do. So she drove off. So some other dude says, hey, I'll come out and we'll check it out. So he comes and he's like, the lawnmower, it doesn't crank. I said, you won't pull it? I said, I pulled it the other day. I can't get it crank. He said, nah, don't worry about it. Then he looks at it and he says, it's supposed to come with a thing that throws the grass out to the side. And I said, dude, let me tell you something. I ain't going in that building. I said, you go in there and you dig around. I said, we got snakes in one building out there, y'all. And last year we had people trying to catch the snake. And I don't care. Oh, that's a rat snake. It's a great snake. Oh, hell no, it ain't either. You get it off my property. We couldn't never catch the thing. So we threw, hundreds of mothballs out there trying to deter. And I don't know if he's in there today. I ain't been in there. But, I said, you go find it. So he couldn't find it after he rumbled around out in that building. And God knows what's out there. So I said, look, dude, is it worth $40 to you? I said, I was asking 100. So he gave me $40, loads it on the truck. So my little daughter, pork chop over there, she's out there. And he goes, oh, you got grandkids, right? No, no, yeah, I know what, it's great. Turn it loose. And I look old and decrepit. And yeah, I was walking with a cane because I brought my cane out. I don't necessarily have to have it every day to walk, but I took it because what if he's an axe murderer, right? What if he comes up and he's going to chop me off? I'm going to bop him on the head with a cane, right? So, we had a laugh about that. They're kids. They're my kids. So he leaves. But, it's amazing that we get to do some pretty amazing things. So Rick is about to be Mr. Birthday Boy there in that same exact thing, to where he can travel anywhere, he can go anywhere, he can do anything, he can trade anywhere as long as he's got his little internet connection and a phone, and trade the money and funds that he has accumulated, but also that was left to him through an inheritance and a legacy from his dear, precious. Rick, just knowing you, I know she was a precious and wonderful, wonderful lady who was a great influence in your life. So that's what life's all about. So he gets to do that, right? That. And it's not that it's he's looking forward to his retirement, but the retirement is not where the satisfaction comes. It's through all those days of getting up when you didn't feel like getting up, of going through storms or enduring the elements to get to a building to where you were doing work, worthwhile work, very worthwhile work, but getting up on the days where you were sick or you were ready to throw up or you just didn't feel like going. And realizing that now you've reached a point where the freedom and all kicks in, where you're able to do those things, but to appreciate each moment and day of that journey. Wow. That's the accomplishment and what you're going to do in the days ahead. So then we've got a youngster with us, man, you know, waking up, putting on the belt, going in, working with the kids. And then the day's going to come when he's not going to feel like working with the kids and coaching the kids. And he may say, I got to step away from that and do other things, and to go and to get a second job, directing traffic so you can have extra funds in a trading account. That's what you enjoy, man. That's what you enjoy. You enjoy, as you're doing whatever and motioning people and doing everything, and you sit there and go, I'm doing this for my family.
Well, I did that for a week. It was
He
just kind
gave
of
it up.
well, it was a one-time thing. Like they had a tournament, but I do get a stipend for coaching, and that is my essentially part-time job. But it's year-round.
But it's year round, right? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so you're doing above and extra, which takes you away from your baby and takes you away from your lovely bride, right? And they're making sacrifice to have you gone at certain points and doing certain things. So why are you doing it? Why are you doing it, man? Why?
Well, fortunately, my father-in-law is the head coach of cross country and track and field. So I do it to have something to bond with him over. And then, it's just kind of a family thing, really. So, and he's been doing it for 20 years, but once he decides to be done, I'm done.
But what a great time in your life, right? That you get to spend time with him in that. And so after he's gone, I mean, who knows? We could all be, I could be hit by a bus today, but after he's gone, you got those great, great, great memories of the time that y'all spent together doing that. So, it's just wonderful. And that's why we wake up and, I'm all, don't fall in love with a dreamer and, the dreams and the dreams. So have the dream, dang it. Have the dream and don't fear going to me. I'll share this. I won't share a name. I love the great thing about trading and doing all this is you've got all of this stuff that people send you messages, right? So I got a message from a gentleman yesterday, and here's what he says. He says, I'm going to share this with you, and then we'll tidy it up. So I wanted to open up my own fund. And I said, oh, you are brave. He said, it's going to be boring, selling out of the money, elite puts on beating down equities. He says, you think it's a good idea to do it? He goes, I know you opened the fund. Half of me is scared to do it, but half of me is like, I got to take a leap of faith and do something I love. Now, listen to this. His decision, in just what I read you in just a few comments, right? He sent me all the messages here. His decision has already been made. He's wanting permission to do this. I mean, basically, he's looking for affirmation that, hey, I'm not making a dumb decision. So I say, depends on what you want to accomplish. I suppose you want to attract investors. I said, yes, I do have a separate fund as well. Now, here's the great thing that I told him, right? I'm going to put him into a place of reality in his life. I said this. I said, dude, you are going to be dead. And I kind of guessed his age, right? I said, you're going to be dead in 60 years. Get over your fear. You're going to be dead and gone. Get over your fears. So he says, investors aren't an issue. I've been managing money for my parents for years. A lot of people in my circle are knowing what I'm doing and always asking me questions. And then he goes, then I told him, I said, life ain't for pansies. So he gives me an LOL, right? And then he does what I think is really, really good right here. He says, I'm going to do it. And I said, hell yeah, you are. Right? And then I said, first thing you're going to do is you're going to book a session with Green Trader Tax, greentradertax.com. And I said, he's going to give you 45 minutes of information that will be eternally valuable for you and your fund. And I said, you need to tell me the date that you have your meeting. So he told me he's going to do that. So I'm going to write him back. And I'm going to say, now, who is this dude? I have no flipping idea. Got no, not a friend, I no idea. I don't know the name and never seen the name before. And this guy's asking me, he said, hey man, I know you got a fund. Should I do one myself? Hell yeah, you should. He wants to do it. He's looking for permission. He's trying to overcome the fear of doing it. Do it. Because you're going to be dead way too soon. Do it. So anyway, so we didn't do a dang trade today, but we talked a lot about life and I enjoyed it. So I thank y'all for coming in today. Any questions about anything? Lord, me and Rick had a good conversation before everybody else came in. It was really good.
Hey, it's good to see Matt's face. Good to put a face with a voice, big guy.
Look at Matt. He got it all, man. I mean, he could be a lumberjack. You know, he got the beard. He got everything. I mean, he's young. He's going at it. How many people Matt's age are doing what Matt is doing? Getting a stipend, working a second job, you know, coaching, getting to spend time with relatives, being away from family to do it, putting those little extra funds into, you know, whatever, not puking his positions, not flipping out, and he's learning portfolio management. Oh, you know, the rest of us go, oh, to be Matt. Oh, to be Matt. Problem is, we are Matt. We're just at different stages of our life, aren't we? Right? But we're doing that. Man, we're doing that. We got the freedom. Rick's fixing to have the freedom. We all got the freedom that Matt is one day going to have, to where he's not worried about the boss being in the background because he's listening to this Zoom session, right? Because guess who's going to be the boss? It's going to be Matt.
Hey, Bobby,
Yeah, Dwayne.
I put a question mark in the Discord related to the calendar that I've got on,
Yep.
and if we could talk about that, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's look at it and see. Now, keep in mind, in my opinion, there's no right way to do the calendar. The way that I was taught was to go out and sell the short about 30 days out and to buy the long about 60 days out and to do it at about a 40 delta. So that's what I do. So watch this, Dwayne. So see now I'm slightly positive delta. I'm theoretically delta neutral. My theta is wonderful. My vega is positive. So yesterday we put on a calendar. So let's see that really quick, like see what that looks like. So here she is. So the calendar on the put side at a 40 delta brought me negative deltas, which I direly needed. Right? I had
Hey,
to
Bobby,
have that.
Bobby, you're sharing the wrong screen. We can't see your trading
Awesome.
screen.
You share screen 2.
You're sharing all of our faces.
All right. Do you see it now?
I don't.
Okay. New share. Share 2. All right, is it showing it now or not? Matt, can you see the screen? Dwayne, can you see the screen that's got the Rick, you still seeing our face screen?
Yeah, you got 59.04 delta.
Okay, good. So now you can see it. Good. So Dwayne, what this did is give me negative deltas, negative or positive theta, and positive vega. Right now, the trade is down $130 on the day. You know, it's down 180. But I'm not really looking at that. I needed that in my account, didn't I? I needed it because my overall account is. Let's look at it. Where's it at? Here we go. Take off the group. I was way too much positive deltas. And I was really too much positive Vega. So I wanted to get that down. And that trade just made sense. And we're looking good today. I'm not going to say we're close to an all-time high because we know what will happen tomorrow. So if I were going to put that trade on today, Dwayne, here's what I would do. I would go into SPX. That's where I put those. Now you could do it in anything, actually. You could do SPY. You could do, you know, whatever. Would probably take less buying power. I've always done it in SPX. So I would go out. First of all, I'm going to go out to the farthest strike. So a lot of people would go to the 30 and choose that strike first. I go, and the way I was taught was to go out closest to 60 days. All right. So I would go out here to the 56 days. I don't like AM settlements. I would go out and I would choose a 40% probability of being in the money. So, and we would buy that option. Let's find it. It should be close to where we did it yesterday. So we're going to go find that one. Yeah. So we would go here. We would buy the 4100. So let's click on that. So now I'm going to go 30 days out, closest to 30 days out, and we're going to sell the 3100. Come here, little baby. Come here, little baby. So let's go close this. So 56 days where we're buying. So maybe 26 or 27 days. Here we go with a 28 or 27. So we're going to sell the 4100. Let's go grab it, sell it. So that's it. Choose your long first at that delta and then sell the 4100. Hit your control button. If you don't, you'll lose that first one you got. There we go. So here's the calendar that we would put on. So it's going to take me $3,630 to put that on. Now, you could do that less if you would go to SPY or some other instrument that's correlated to the market that you'd like to put that in. But let's analyze the trade so we can see exactly what it gives you. So analyze trade. Let's go here. Analyze SPX. We'll go. You want to hide. Hey, baby. You want to hide your positions and just show your simulation. So instead of show all, you would go hide positions so that you're just showing. Let me make sure I got just the one calendar. It looks like I do. So here she is, right? So here's my calendar. So you see what the calendar looks like. You see what it does, right? It's negative delta. That makes sense. So it makes money if the market goes down. And then just go to your price slices here and look at the one that is currently at the money, which is 0 here, you know, where the price is here. What does it give you? This particular calendar will give me negative 40 SPY deltas because the beta symbol here is SPX. So actually that's going to give me negative, 48 deltas, SPY deltas. I don't care about gamma. It's going to give you 28 theta, and it's going to give you a really big vega of 208. Now, because yesterday, Dwayne, I took in this big, humongous vega, and I already had big, humongous vega, I even went a little further and said, doggone it, I'm going to now sell my gold trade as a way to even neutralize that positive vega. So I sold that, the 5 delta gold strangle. That's all that is, 150 days out, 145 days out. And it's 5 delta put, 5 delta call, sold those. And that brought in just a tad of negative SPY deltas, brought in some great positive theta. And look at this, negative 236 vega. Keep in mind, I brought in about that much vega on the calendar trade. So let's look what the vega was again. Vega, 208. That's what gave me the liberty to do the gold trades yesterday. Any questions on that at all, Dwayne, on the calendar spread? And again, if you don't want to expend $3,000 on that, and you don't need that much vega, let's do it this, and then we'll let each other go. Let's do SPY. Hey, baby.
Dad?
What, darling?
If you won't hurry up, we won't get no one to eat.
If I don't hurry up, we won't get to eat. Okay, baby. Daddy's gonna hurry. Hold on. So let's go to SPY. I think Beth sent her up there to do that. And she's so dang cute, right? So you got to listen to her. All right, so
My question was, since I'm about 10% on this calendar, would it make sense, pardon me, make sense to roll the short position out another week and collect more premium? And unfortunately, well, I guess just the way it is, be loss on that short, but I'd be bringing in more premium. Does that make sense to roll or just close it out?
yeah, you certainly could do that. So Dwayne, when you're looking at making that type of trade, the determination, look first on how it's going to affect your overall portfolio. And we do that from the Analyze tab, right? So you can go to the Analyze tab, look at all your positions or just your SPX positions, take off that short component, and then do the hypothetical trade of putting on another short and see what that does to your overall grade. So rather than making my decision on a profit or loss standpoint, I'm making it on a bigger scale. So I'm not looking just at the tree, which is the calendar spread. I'm actually looking at the forest. So keep that in mind. So go back over to the Analyze tab. And all you got to do is go show positions, right? Single symbol. So it's showing all your SPX stuff. And then here, hide simulations so that it's only showing your SPX trades, right? And then what you do is, let's see, show 4 expirations, single symbol, all 10 series. What you want to do is isolate your calendar, right? So find your calendar, or actually the easier thing would be to do it by groups, right? Go back to your monitor tab, show your groups, then show that group, then take off your negative, your short option, uncheck it, and then put in your new SPX trade that you would be rolling. So sell it and then right click and click Analyze without placing the trade, and then see what it does to your overall Greeks. That's what you do. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, I'll look at it that way.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, Dwayne, if you sit there and go, Bobby, let's schedule, a one-on-one later today or tomorrow, whenever, and we'll go through each and every step, or I'll do that tomorrow, right? Fat Baby's like, hey, we got to go to the Ruby Tuesday, but I want to make sure I get your question taken care of. So if you want to do that later today, and let's work on that just with your account, then send me a message and we'll do it. Or if you want to do it tomorrow, and we'll walk you through all those steps.